1 year ago, exactly to this date, the finale of Amphibia released to the entire world, and many people, including myself, lost their minds and were an emotional mess for quite a while after the show was over. But since Amphibia is a show that preaches the values of change and the importance of change, I thought it would be amazing to give my thoughts now that I've had a year to sit with the finale and the beautiful ending of this show and really appreciate all the wonderful stuff that happened with the finale, because honestly, it's one of the best finales I've ever seen in anything because of the absolute love and care it has for the material, while also having a very valuable and powerful message. But if you're watching a video on Amphibia's finale a year after it came out, you're probably already aware of all this amazing stuff, and you're probably also a huge fan of the finale, like I am. So I thought of doing something a bit different. I recently rewatched the entire show, literally in about a week, with a friend of mine who's never seen it. So the timing literally could not have been better because he had no idea the show almost aired exactly a year ago. But we just watched the finale yesterday, and genuinely, it was so amazing to see someone react and have the same sort of feelings I had when I first watched it. It was like having a window back to literally a year ago today and how I felt about the finale. I could feel the love and the passion that my friend had for this show, and it was just amazing to see, like really genuinely. Although I'll never get the experience of experiencing this finale for the first time ever again, because I've seen it and have been able to sit with the themes and the message of the finale, I was able to watch it in a really different light, which was really interesting to me. When I was first watching the finale, it was in a period of great change in my life. I just graduated college, and a lot of the friends that I met through many years, I was about to leave behind and not know the next time I'm ever going to see them again. It felt really similar to the situation Anne, Sasha, and Marcy were in, so for me, it hit even harder than it would have if I was in another situation in my life. It felt perfect to me that the show that was super focused around the themes of change and accepting change would end at a time where I would have to accept a great change. It was honestly like super poetic in a way, so it was really great that this show ended and allowed me to really appreciate all the friends that I've made along the way. As corny as that sounds, it's literally the point of the story. Anne, Sasha, and Marcy all care about each other, and that goes to show when they still reconvene and still hang out, even though they've gone through many different paths in life, they still appreciate each other and really care about each other. And it really is nice to see. Now, one thing I really wanted to bring up was the way that this ending is sort of divisive with the Amphibia fan base. Many people, like myself, think that this ending is a masterpiece and really emphasizes the themes of the story. However, there's some people who think the ending is too bittersweet and too tragic, and I can understand that. However, I feel like the ending really emphasizes the themes, like I said earlier, so personally, I would say this ending is, a masterpiece, but I can understand why some people aren't really huge fans of the ending. I think it truly shows how much Anne, Sasha, and Marcy have grown when they realized that they would be willing to give up everything they've built in this world to ensure that they're safe, rather than living in this fantasy world and escapist ideal that they wanted this entire time. Like Marcy choosing to accept that her family is going to leave, Sasha grows and accepts that she can't always be in control, and Anne choosing to be the bigger person, and instead of staying in this world that she cares so much about, returning to her normal life, now as a changed person. And I personally think the show handles this idea of change really well in the actual way the show is released and formatted. The show starts out very episodic, but then evolves into something that's very emotional and character rich and very narrative driven. And I think this is really interesting because we see the show literally change and the characters literally change, and it really emphasizes the ending where change is the most important thing. We see Anne, Sasha, and Marcy, and many other characters go through changes that lead to them becoming completely different characters by the end of the story. Honestly, I think it's really interesting because you can see how people could view the show itself as a way of escapism, just like how Marcy viewed Amphibia as a way of getting away from her problems. But then the show really reinforces this idea of not being able to necessarily get rid of the things affecting you in the real world, because everything matters to people, whether it be something that seems insignificant like an episode of season 1, or something that's absolutely insane and life-changing like the episode True Colors. It goes to show that everything in life is important, and it's all about what you choose to do that makes it worthwhile in the end. The main thing I've been thinking about since I rewatched the finale is that now I am 23, and I'm now the same age as Anne, Sasha, and Marcy, in the finale when they reunite and have a nice time for Anne's birthday. And it really made me think about how things have just been changing more and more in my life, and how I felt more comfortable just doing whatever, really. And that's so cool. I remember the last time I talked about this episode, the ending scene with Anne, Sasha, and Marcy really made me feel seen, because although I don't talk to my friends as often as I should because I'm not really a caller or a texter a lot of the time, I know whenever I reconnect with them, it's basically immediately good vibes, because that's just how it is. And throughout my time on YouTube, I've met a ton of people who I actually would consider friends of mine, and it made me realize that whenever we meet eventually down the line, it'll probably be something like this, where it just feels normal and just super chill whenever we finally meet each other. So it's just really cool to see stuff like this. And I think this growth has really been emblematic with me for how I convey myself, because when I first talked about this show, I was very much closed off and not fully being myself because I didn't feel comfortable putting my full self out there. I'm a lot more confident and willing to actually get my voice out there, which I'm not going to say is entirely because of the show, but the show definitely helped me feel more confident in myself because of Anne's journey and Sasha's journey. And Marcy's journey was also pretty cool, but it didn't really have the same message, but you guys get what I'm saying. Although I don't talk about the show nearly as much as I used to, my love for it is super apparent. I mean, literally right here, you can see them in the background of every single one of my videos, so you can clearly tell the passion is there. Like, that's all I gotta say. Well, I wanted to share something else that happened to me after I watched the show, because I thought this was, again, another perfect, poetic type of thing. So my roommate at the time had these yellow Converse sneakers, and they are literally identical to Anne's sneakers, and he was just gonna give them away because he didn't wear them for a really long time. So I saw them and they were my size, and I'm like, there's no way after this show ends that I'm super invested in that I'm just gonna let them just go to waste, essentially. So I asked him if I could have the pair, and luckily he gave them to me, and I still have them to this day. Very nice pair of yellow shoes that are, again, identical to Anne's. So it just goes to show that this show really affected me in a way that felt perfect for the time. It was really crazy. And even though the shoes are kind of beat up, at least I have two of them. So I'm not going to end up in Anne's situation where I only have the one. But with that, it's been a whole year since the Painful Frog show has ended, and oh my god, it's always such a wild ride. I can't wait to see more people talk about this show as the years go on, and really think about how much it means to them. I know today that many people who I follow have been gushing and showing their love for the show, either on YouTube or Twitter or other social medias, and it's just awesome to see people really be able to express their love for the show, and hopefully I did the same. So with that, take care and have a good one.